What's a guilty pleasure you hide from your significant other? I don't know if this is a guilty pleasure necessarily, but I pretend to be asleep when he comes home from work because he always kisses me on the forehead. I have a whole album of unflattering pictures of her. Not really something I hide, but they make me happy. She's so silly yet so beautiful. Sometimes I take the long way home and talk to myself in the car about my problems, like self-therapy. I put one earbud in so people think I could be on the phone. I get quite animated. It helps to get a stressful day out of my system before I get home and switch gears. I talk to myself all the time. I'm basically my best friend at this point. So whenever we go on dates, on my way home I just recap for myself the whole thing in details as if I was telling a friend how the date went. Whenever I'm happy or sad about something he did/said, I just record myself on Snapchat explaining everything in my point of view and just vent about everything. I then save the videos, put them in a secured folder and delete everything off Snapchat. I love knowing that I will always be there for me, and if I need someone to talk to, and don't specifically need feedbacks, I can just do it myself lol. If he ever finds out about this secret folder, he would live our whole relationship again from the beginning and from my point of view. And see me ugly cry or simp over him, but yeah, he'd also probably think I'm crazy. Getting my jokes for the past couple months from Reddit. I just use DuckDuckGo. Funniest jokes safe search off. Every time I go on a late night grocery run, once or twice a month, because I work nights, and my wife forgot to grab whatever, I add a $0.70 Mexican soda to the cart. It is just for me. It is something my dad used to get me on especially long days when I was a kid helping him on job sites. It is my tiny reminder of him. I write stories for years now. Some of the times she thinks I'm working on the computer, but I'm actually writing a story. There is nothing to hide but just keep it to myself. None of my family members know I write stories. Till today I have written 56 stories, most of them are short. My husband has gluten sensitivity. If he eats regular pizza, his stomach hurts for a couple of days after. Well, I don't, so sometimes I say I'm going for a run, and I do run to the pizza store, eat a slice, and run back. I love when she snores. She complains, only lightly, about my snoring all the time, and I'll always feel awful that I make it tricky for her to get a good night's sleep. When she's snoring, I know she's actually going to rest well, and it makes me happy. Smelling his clothes. Not creepily, like his boxers. But when he lets me borrow a shirt or a sweater, I'll put it on and just revel in the smell of him on his clothes. If I recall correctly, it definitely wasn't like this when we first started dating. It's been over 2 years now and I only remember doing this around the 7-month mark. He smells really, really good. My wife of 37 years still wants to wear/sleep in whatever shirt I was wearing that day because it smells like you. We started dating in December of 1980 and I'm still crazy about that woman. I'm a lucky man. COVID has messed it up for a bit now, but every 3 or so months the boys and I all get up like we are going to work at our respective jobs, but instead all call in sick and meet for breakfast, then go back to our one buddy's place for the day to hang out. Around 4 or 5 one by one we all head home for our normal arrival time. It's literally the only way for us all to get together reliably. Most of us have known each other for the better part of 30 years now, going way back to junior kindergarten for some. Twice I have let her know my plan for the day and twice I have gotten phone calls to come home early for whatever not so emergency. So now we do it secretly. Once every 2 months I take a me day. He thinks I am at work, work thinks I am homesick. I need the peace and quiet. While I can't say that it's a guilty pleasure, this is one of the only things I hide from my wife. I am a genuinely compassionate person, as known as have a bleeding heart. The MRS always seems to get annoyed whenever I donate clothes or give money or food to the homeless or help people in need in general. Her mindset is if it was the other way around they wouldn't help you. I tell her that's not my concern. There's a guy that stands in front of Dunkin' Donuts in our area. I have been buying him coffee and chatting him up for almost a year now. I rarely ever have cash, but sometimes when I have small bills on me I hook him up. Never told the MRS a thing about it. Sometimes when he asks me if I've eaten yet, I will lie and say that I haven't because I'm a glutton. I watch people play online casinos and lose their money. It's one of my great entertaining guilty pleasures. Their reactions are sensational, pun absolutely intended. Staying up late for peace and quiet. Ted, I work out to Britney Spears. Sometimes after work on the way home I go and get fast food, stop at a park, put Netflix on my phone and sit and eat and hang out alone until I feel like all the drama from the hospital has left me for the day, sometimes for an hour or more. It's extremely enjoyable, but also it means don't take my negativity home to my so, who still thinks I'm at work at this point. That the supplies for my hobbies are more expensive than I tell him. Twinkies. My youngest child is extremely allergic to eggs, so we don't keep products in the house that contain eggs. Sometimes, when I'm desperate for an egg-filled spongy cake, I will grocery shop solo, snag a 2-pack of Twinkies, and indulge in the car before driving home. Then I wash my hands and face and mouth in the outdoor sink before going inside to resume mom duties. There are a couple of pretty AskReddit subreddits that I peek in on from time to time, but never post on. Just to see what kind of AskReddit crap people do. Sometimes it's like watching a slow-motion train wreck. Just can't look away, even though you should. I will cruise the house butt naked and just do whatever the hell I want. About once a month. I won't be able to this summer because the kids will be back in school, but come August, I'll be naked and free again. My partner has some trauma around food/weight gain. If there is a snack, especially candy, in the house, they cannot help themselves but eat it, and eat all of it in a very short period of time. They then go on a full guilt spiral around eating the treat, and it makes their mental health quite bad for a while, days to weeks. So I have a secret snack stash so that can eat my treats in moderation. My partner knows it exists, but doesn't know the location. Reading fanfiction, honestly not even steamy stuff, usually just silly little stories with characters I feel familiar with. I'm an academic, so all day long I read all these intellectual articles and books, and I'm expected to have all these clever thoughts, so when I get home, I can't face reading books, so fanfiction it is. I'm weirdly embarrassed to tell my so though, so I don't. The S/O travels for work every few weeks, so I am home alone often, and my complete disregard for eating anything nutritious. Fast food pretty much every day and lots of candy. Also in bed playing video games by like 7. Just an all-around gross human when they aren't around, haha. I always get myself a 2 Mars bars when I go to the drugstore to pick up her prescription. I sit in the car and eat them both before driving home. I don't know why I started doing that, but I don't plan to stop. When I'm alone, I turn on music, get high, like down, and pretend I live a different life. It's something. The high part was only a recent addition when I got a med card, that I have done as long as I can remember. I imagine I'm a character in a fantasy, a romance, action, any and everything. I don't know why I do this, but it has always helped me calm down/recenter myself. Sometimes I'll even get up and dance. I went through some abuse, and I like to think this helps heal my inner child. But I've done it since I was a kid, and it was really the only kid-like thing I could do. Reddit, you are the first to know of this. I'm honestly hoping this gets lost in the sea of replies. But if anyone reads this and does similar, please let me know. No, logically I can't be the only person who does this, but sometimes I feel like an absolute weirdo. Like a adult kid playing pretend or something. My wife technically knows about this, but it's Tostino's pizza rolls. I just prefer to eat them by myself. I'm dying laughing right now. Mine is that when nobody is home I twerk to my music. I know it's strange, but I love feeling sexy when I dance. I'll even practice doing the whole lap dance on a kitchen chair and I've told him repeatedly when we go out dancing that I don't know how to grind, twerk, or do any of that type of dancing. Mostly because in front of people I know I'd look like a total dork from embarrassment. I don't know, that's just what I first thought of. In the 20 minutes it takes me to drive home from the store I consume an entire can of squirty cream. Once a week, on a Friday. I hide out in my car in my neighborhood before arriving home. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but sometimes the weight of the house gets to me. I also loved Movie Pass when it was hot. I went and saw a movie alone every week. I saw some pretty bad ones but I didn't care. I'm on a diet but I keep bags of Doritos in the garage and I sneak in there and eat fistfuls of Doritos and then wipe my fingers and mouth clean. It actually involves wife without her knowing. Once a year she plans her getaway that I take her on but she has no idea. I'll give you an example of the most recent. Getaway was set for a weekend before Valentine's 2022. In August 2021 we took a day trip to local state parks. One SE liked and made the comment on how it might be pretty in the winter in one particular cabin. In November I reserved that cabin. In the weeks leading to the magical weekend I do some innocent questioning, asking what a romantic meal is to her. What's something we haven't done in a while, and while shopping what she would pick for date night to wear. I bought her the outfit, steaks, and a side to make together as she said it'd be romantic to cook together. Had her favorite wine, flowers, and snacks sent to the cabin. Brought some board games that she said she enjoyed as a kid. We both dressed up and I took her to the cabin and made a weekend out of it. We made dinner, had wine, listened to music, played games, and got cozy, and watched movies and never left the cabin till Sunday. This is something I do every year that brings me the most joy. Pork rinds. They are addictively good, but mildly embarrassing to eat. Sometimes I play with myself while he's sleeping beside me. I ran the idea past him a couple of years back to make sure it was okay, but I've never actually been caught, which makes it fun. My S/O is a health nut. So when we eat chicken it's usually always the breasts, which I don't mind, but I really do miss eating my favorite parts, aka the dark meat. So when I'm off and she's at work, I order 2 whole rotisserie chickens and go to town. I eat it like a caveman just to feel alive again and get rid of all the evidence before she comes home. About once a week or once every other week, I go to the local sushi place and pig out on a massive meal while looking at my phone, then immediately go home and sleep it off. When I was younger, I would read Danielle Steele, but I'd switch out the cover, hardback book, to something intellectual.